all the other students. And let me remind you, the students may not be just from your own college. If it's a campus placement season, of course, if you're going for any off-campus interviews, or probably some other interviews wherein you're going to an office space wherein there are folks who have come from different other parts of the country or different other colleges as well, you would be sitting amongst group members, all of whom want to do better in the group discussion. So what's going to happen is that point number one, you're going to get uncomfortable. Point number two, what happens when we get uncomfortable? We get jittery, we get shaken up, and then we start speaking, right? We all see news channels. There is a prominent news channel, news network in the country wherein which is famous for bringing in people and shouting, right? All of them shout over each other. And not just one news network. That model is being followed by a lot of other news networks now. Correct? All of us watch news. It happens all the time. More than 90% of the times that I've observed campus group discussions, they, at the end of the day, turn out to be a shouting match. Because when you are talking, for example, in this particular discussion also, Karan started in a very civilized way, and then Jatin also spoke in a very nice manner. Brishti, Deepak, Palak, all of them spoke one after the other. In a normal group discussion, by normal I mean in an interview setup group discussion, people generally start shouting over each other because everyone wants to be heard. Okay? So there are some of the tricks that we are going to be telling you today from this slide, which you can keep in mind when you are actually facing a real life group discussion scenario so that it works in your favor. Now, let's see what the folks from the companies assess when they are looking at your group discussions, right? They assess, of course, your communication and clarity. They assess how good of a listener you are. They understand or try to understand your logical reasoning. They try to understand your initiative, right? They try to understand your collaboration, how you're collaborating with the people, and your empathy, and they start observing, or they generally do observe how you're starting with your body language, how much of a confidence you're exuberating. Now, coming back to this group discussion, I'll tell you some of the points that I liked. Of course, there was active listening, because in the middle of the discussion itself, when Jatin picked up the points, or when Rishti picked up the points, they picked up the points that were relevant to the points that were made earlier. And at the end, when Palak also spoke, it was as per the context that was being set in the meeting. Fantastic. That shows your active listening skills and your reasoning capabilities as well. But then at the same time, what was happening is when we started with the discussion and we said, hey, somebody start with it, people didn't unmute themselves, right? I think it was Karan who started speaking first, but that happened only after, I think, around 8 to 10 seconds. Do not let that happen to all of you. Always remember the folks from different organizations who come to assess you for a job, they all want to see an initiative in you. I'm not saying that only if you show drive and initiative is when you get selected. That would be a wrong example. Okay? People who speak second, third, fourth also get selected. By taking an initiative, what happens is that you come out of the loop of not being able to talk once the group discussion starts. Okay, let me repeat that. Once a discussion starts, it's person A, person B, person C, all speaking at the same time. And then somewhere in the process, your voice gets lost. Taking the initiative, being the first speaker to start speaking, gives you the liberty to show yourself first in the meeting. Because till then, till the time when everybody else is thinking that, hey, let me start speaking, you have already started speaking. And that gives you one brownie point because you're the initiator. Okay. After that, once the discussion begins, always remember it's not who shouts the most who wins, but it's the one who makes relevant points plus lets the other people speak in the group as well. For example, during your discussion, for example, let's assume you have already spoken 2 to 3 points, right? Or let's say 1 or 2 points. And then you realize that somebody in your group is not even talking, right? You then allow them to talk. You ask them, hey, do you have any point to make? That shows empathy. And that empathy, by the way, is just not limited to your group discussion day of your interview season, by the way. This is a continuation. This is a repeating cycle which you will deal with throughout your entire life. In our organizations, also, in every organization, any global organization that you go, which is of a good repute, you'll see these principles in their normal meetings, in their normal day to day meetings as well, that we allow everyone to make their points. If somebody is not making any of the points, we tell them that, hey, do you have anything to say? And these are the basic principles, the basic foundational principles that every interviewer would also look at you when you start with your group discussion. Okay. We can cover more on it, but probably after this, after today's presentation as well, Nishma will be sharing the presentation with Danish. You can refer to these points later on as well. I'll not be dwelling on it too much. I'll quickly hover about on the two rest of the points as well on this slide, and after that we can move ahead. There are different types of GD topics also, by the way, right? Today, the topic that Nishma gave was a very, let's say, generic topic. Topics many a times are taken from the current affairs arena as well. There are some abstract topics also. There are some case-based discussions wherein you are being given a case, a page, a paper, or a couple of pages, or probably 10, 12 pages of a case to read about, and then to come back with your thought process. That is also a group discussion type. There are some controversial, issues that may be given to you, and you may have to express your thoughts on that. And there may be a factual or data-driven topic also. One point over here, in case of controversial topics, whenever you find any controversial topics, always remember that you need to take a stand. Please do not think that in a group discussion you'll stay neutral and you will be preferred. If there is a controversial topic, you need to take a stand, whether you are on this side or that side. And then whatever stand you take, in real life, probably you may totally differ. But in the group discussion, whatever stand you take, make sure that you always stick to it. Do not shift your stance again and again during the discussion. It shows that you're fickle minded. It shows that you do not have a decision making capability. Okay. And abstract topics can be anything. Funny thing. Okay. Let me give an example from my real life as well. Funny thing. During my MBA group discussions, I was given a topic. I mean, my group was given a topic, which went something like this. The topic was uh, pink pajamas flying over the Red Fort. Okay. It was an entirely abstract topic, pink pajamas flying over the Red Fort. What would you even try to get out of that topic, right? And then sort of we figured out, we spoke about it. I mean, I think in my head I did well. And later on, I figured out that the way that I had thought the topic meant was correct. Thank God. That's how I landed in my MBA college. But coming back here, you may get abstract topics also. Kiss of a crocodile. That's an abstract topic, right? What do you talk on that, right? Life is not just black and white. That's a topic. That's an abstract topic. What do you make of it, right? During the abstract topics, always remember to keep your calm mind. Try to understand what the topic might be, meaning. And once you start with your points, always make sure that you explain the meaning of the topic that you have understood. Pink pajamas flying over the Red Fort, I sort of figured that fine, since the color pink is associated with it, maybe we're talking about women, maybe we're talking about girls, maybe that was my assumption. Flying over the Red Fort signifies India. So that means women are doing really well in India. That was my assumption of the meaning of the topic. Thankfully, I was correct, right? But then when I started with the discussion, I explained the meaning or the interpretation that I thought of it in my head. And after that, I began with my points. So always remember, in case of abstract topics, it's important for you to explain first that what you understood from the topic and then go ahead with it. But I'll quickly go to the next point over here on this slide. How it works, it's very simple. The same logic or the same flow that we sort of practiced today. That once the topic is announced, you are given 2 minutes, sometimes 3 minutes to sort of think about it, to jot down your points. And then the discussion is opened, which is generally 10, 15, 20 minutes long. And then there has to be a summary or a conclusion. Always remember somebody needs to conclude as well. And just as important as it is for you, for somebody to initiate the discussion, it is equally important for someone to conclude or summarize the discussion, because even that shows leadership. Okay. Evaluators are always silent observers. They just silently observe you. So please do not look at them while you are talking. Let them do their job. You do your job. You focus on your points. Don't focus on the evaluators. And of course, at the end of the day, no single right or wrong answer. There is nothing wrong or right. Okay, probably once you start with your careers, with your jobs, you'd soon realize the world doesn't run on rules and regulations, although we have a lot of rules and regulations, but principally it doesn't. Whosoever can make the most relevant points, or whosoever can back their points up with full force, full power, they are the ones who sort of win the debate always. Okay. With that having said, Nishma, I hand it over to you for the next slide.
Thanks, Manadeep. Um, Guys, I hope you're taking notes. I know it's not a very fun session to be into while you are listening and learning, but this is something we would really wish you take notes of, because we really want you all to flourish when you get into the interview. So, these are some golden rules of do's and don't. Before you can just take note of it, before I really get deep into it, I really want to pick few points that I've observed during the group discussion today. Uh, Manadeep, you can, pitch in, correct me if I'm wrong as well. So while you are at group discussion, first and foremost, your interviewer there is nullified. You shouldn't even imagine the someone who is going to direct you what is the next step. I understand today, because it is virtual, Manadeep was saying who is next and who is supposed to get a chance and all of that. But to be very honest, on the day of group discussion, like Manadeep already mentioned, we are not even interrupting. The stage is yours. You pick up from the start, you end it. We are only there to monitor the time and monitor who does it best. So, first thing first, don't wait for anyone, like he said. Second, while you start and while you end, please keep note of the time. And we are everybody doesn't have to be in the very right side of the room. You can be on the other side as well and debate your points. Make sure you're not just aggressive and dismissive of each other. If someone picks up hard work, please be sorry, if someone picks up smart work, I've seen everyone doing that. Like, you only spoke about smart work and hardly the conclusion and introduction was about hard work. uh, but if you pick up a perspective against someone, give it a way where it, make it very healthier while you speak, not in the argumentative perspective. So that makes the discussion, and also it builds points for someone else. So who is not ready to speak can also speak while you do that. So you are not making space for yourself, you're also making space for someone else. That speaks a lot about your leadership qualities as well. While we speak of do's here, starting with confident opening statement, or like you said, Karan made it. So kudos to that. And listening actively, nod and make an eye contact. So why we do it? Listening actively, I can sit and just be put a poker face, but I'm listening. Will that give any communication, or will someone understand through it? No. But if you respect them and give one nod while they're talking to you, or make an eye contact, it will build another man's, other person's confidence, and also makes you feel that someone is listening to you attentively. So another thing, making notes, like I said, when you're putting out some perspective, I can make notes because I want to say what could be the other facts that can be added, or some other debatable points as well. Like I mentioned, invite quieter members to contribute. If someone is sitting very idle and not saying, a good leader doesn't just speak for himself, he makes everyone speak. If you are one and if you want to be a leader one day, make sure everyone else in the room is heard, spoken, and given that space. Just don't take the entire room for yourself. And then while someone is concluding, make sure you summarize the group points, not just your points, from the introduction to the person who spoke before you. Make sure you use all the points one by one, not that you have to put everything. Make sure you add something and speak clearly. Control your volume and pace. Don't be very fast. You're not in a rush, but don't be very harsh while you speak. Use that more tone wherein it is pleasing, but not also make you shouldn't make someone else sleep also, right? You can't be in undertone also. You should be in that perfect volume and pace, so you are heard well. And acknowledge and build on others. The very first point that I mentioned was like, you understand, you speak, make uh, if you have points and someone else, you're going against it, so other person has a point towards it, right? What are the don'ts here? In this discussion, we didn't find any don'ts that you have not done, except for Manadeep keeping you all, asking everybody to speak one after the other. That's something that I would say it's a big no-no. We will not, the invigilator will not do that. They will give the room to you and you have to speak for yourself. Do not interrupt or talk over others. You do not have to dominate the entire discussion. Space for everyone, and stay silent. Don't stay silent throughout the session. Give at least one line throughout you'll have what, hardly 15-20 minutes. Make sure you put one line as well, and don't go completely off topic, or just say something because you have to say. uh, Stick on to the topic. Like you mentioned, no aggressive and dismissive language. Do not repeat same points multiple times, because I invigilator will be silent, but his ears and eyes are wide open. While the discussion is happening, he'll make sure how many times the same points have been repeated, right? And let's avoid the jargons, like, or the fillers that you use, right? Like, and, but, actually, you can use it, not it can't be the entire discussion. While you start, don't start. Be confident while you start. It doesn't sound right, right, when I say, yeah, okay, how does this sound? Are you're barely interested in what I'm saying, because half of the thing I have already spoiled it for you, right? Okay, this is about the golden rules. We'll go on to the next slide. Um, yes, Manadeep has already, covered the entire things here, but I would give it to him back to throw some light on this slide as well.
Yeah, thanks, Nishma. And yeah, I think not to ponder upon too much on this particular slide, but then quickly just revising what Nishma and I just spoke. Everyone, see, it's all about presenting yourself to the fullest, to the best of your capabilities, while staying respectful. But at the same time, please do not think that just because you are being respectful, that you have to be silent. No. Okay? Because in a real life scenario, once again, when the real group discussion starts, you would see that there are elements or there are people in your group who start with it very aggressively, who speak over everyone does. Okay. And then because all of us are human beings, we think, oh, he's talking like that, or she's, screaming like that. Probably I'll not even get heard. What about my job? I also need to get selected. Let me also start screaming. No, you do not need to. Always remember, you have to be logical enough with kindness, and then you have to make your points. Always remember, logic defeats volume. If you are logical enough, and if you are able to put your points forth with conviction, you have that trust in yourself that your point is correct, and you're putting up your point with facts, with logic, and with examples, your points will be heard. The same thing which is mentioned here in point number 2, the Peel structure, right? You make your point, provide the evidence, provide an example, link it back. You don't have to remember the Peel structure though. That's okay, even if you remember Peel or if you do not remember Peel. Just remember this. Whenever you say something, your argument always has to be based on something. And that something needs to be a fact or a very well known, probably way of life, something. In case of abstract topics, you can base it on very solid philosophy also. Okay. And the rest of the points we've already spoken about, how you can initiate confidently. Initiators always have kind of like a brownie point always when they initiate the discussion. Okay. So, Karan, from next time onwards, please don't wait for 10, 20 more seconds to start with your points. Just start. If you think that you want to start, start. Okay. Don't think too much. Summarizing effectively, Palak summarized, but once again, as Nishma said, Palak, your summary could have been a combination of a lot of things, not just supporting the point of smart work, but then you could have supported both the areas of the discussion and could have concluded very effectively. Okay. Quality over quantity. I heard Brishti's point. It was a very good point. It was a qualitative point that she had made. It was logical and witty, but at the same time, Brishti, or anyone in this group who's like Brishti, you do not have to stay silent for somebody to tell you to speak up. You have got a wonderful logical thought process. Be bold, start talking. When you feel that you have the opportunity, just go ahead and start talking. Okay? Build and bridge, and then master nonverbal skills. I mean, Jatin's example was there wherein he acted as a bridge, right? Whatever the points the previous speakers had spoken about, he collected them and sort of put his own points and then passed it forward. So we have had an overall combination of all these areas in today's group discussion simulation also. The only thing is that the real group discussions, and I'll once again repeat myself as a broken stereo. Okay. Real group discussions are a little bit more pressurizing. You'll feel the heat of the moment. You will get tempted to start shouting yourself as well. You may get tempted to see so many people around you and get scared that, hey, there are so many people shouting. I'm scared. Let me just sit quietly. Both these scenarios are wrong. Both these actions are wrong. A, you do not have to shout or overcompensate with your voice. B, you do not have to stay totally silent just to avoid the discussion. Be a party in the discussion. Bring your own points logically, support them with examples, stay calm, and give other people an opportunity to speak when you have the chance. Okay? These are the golden rules. Uh, Nishma, we can go to the next slide, probably.
Yes. Just moving. Yeah. We're back here. Uh, anyone who's up for a mock interview who wants to get interviewed.
Yeah, I think we also have volunteers. We can call out their names.
Anyone who's ready, it's not something we would force on, but yeah.
Yeah. So, Marine, are you there? Marine Sultana? Marine Sultana, I think she's there.
Hello, sir. Yeah, and
Okay, can you come on video, Marin?
sorry.
Can you come on video?
Okay, ma'am. Sure.
And folks who have volunteered for the mock interview, please don't be scared. We won't bite you. We will not ask you even tough questions. Do not worry about it. Probably the critical part of the talks also will not be covering it specifically, pointing it out on you. We'll make general observations and we will share those general observations with this entire group. So do not worry. We are not going to point it out on you and we are not going to put everything on you. So please feel free to speak up your minds and please come on the camera. Mary, I think you are trying to come on the camera. I'm not too sure about it.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to come on the camera, but I don't know why this is not working.
Maybe. Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Sampasani Anika, you there? I think she's there.
Can we do it a little quickly? We just have another good quality 25 minutes.
On your camera?
Okay. Danish, what we can do is that we have a little entertaining piece for the students as well. We thought of
Mhm.
a scenario wherein if nobody comes on camera and if they're just shy, and that's okay with us. In that kind of a scenario, what we thought is that probably Nishma can be the right.
Mhm.
I can make fun of my own self. That should not be a problem. I'm sorry. I think I can see somebody who has raised their
Raising
hand. I
hand.
think it's Sneha, right? Sneha, would you want to volunteer for this?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Great. Can you switch on your camera if that's okay?
Sure. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sneha. You're very brave. Nishma, over to you.
Yeah. So, Sneha, to give you context, Manadeep is your interviewer. You are the candidate. Do not worry about who is there in the call. Okay, this is just a heads up. You feel present. You answer his questions. It's just two of you. Don't worry about anybody else listening to your answers. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
And the time starts now. We have 2 to 3 minutes to finish this activity.
Amazing. Sure. I'll
Yeah.
start the timer myself. Sneha, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Hi. Would you be able to tell me something about yourself?
Yes, sir. My name is Sneha Kumari. I'm from Bihar, currently pursuing my Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science and Engineering at Sri Krishna Institute of Technology. I am in my sixth sem and have maintained a CGPA of 9. I have a strong interest in AI, software development, and exploring a new technology, enhancing my technical skill, such as the shopping mall management system. Uh, where I gained hands-on experience in backend development, database integration, and the CRUD operation. Also, I developed the college ERP management system using the SAP ABAP Cloud, where I learned data modeling using the CDS View and the SAP Rep and the SAP Fiori element. Apart from the academy, I have actively participated in hackathon and the technical event, which have helped me develop leadership, communication, teamwork, and the problem-solving skills. I am a quick learner, hardworking, and adaptable. Thank you, sir.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sneha. Would you be able to tell me about how many LLMs are there right now in the world? You
LLM.
said, yeah, you said right that you are interested in AI.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm talking about the large language models. How many large language
Yes,
models
sir.
are there?
Recently, uh, I don't know exact answer at this moment, but I will let you know after this interview. Yes.
Amazing. What are the top three LLMs as per you that you might be using in your daily life?
Top three LLM model like Olama using
Hmm?
and Chroma DB, you can say. I think.
Okay. One. That's
uh, Sorry, I'm not recalling right now.
no problem at all, Sneha. Great. Nishma, thank you so much, Sneha, by the way. It was fantastic. Thank you. And Nishma, I think 3 minutes are already up. Would you want us to sort of start with our pointers on the feedback front, or do you want it to be covered
Yes.
later on? You suggest.
We can do that. Let's give a little breather on feedbacks, I guess. Maybe we'll cover in the points and then give them a collective understanding of this.
Okay. Sneha, thank you
Okay.
so much once again. It was a good tell
Thank
me
you, sir.
about something about your, it was a good answer that you gave on tell me
Yeah.
something about yourself. We'll share some of the
Thank
observations
you.
later, but yeah, not right now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, you would want to take this.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Nishma.
Mm.
Um, hey, by the way, just let me know if in case I'm talking too much today. And to all students out there, I love talking. Okay. Just let me know if I'm talking too much and if in case I'm boring you, including you, Neha, please
No,
let me
no,
know.
absolutely not.
And probably I'll try to be a little more interesting. Uh, Great. The points on this slide. Uh, there are different types of interviews. Okay. Generally, during your interviews in the campus or most of the interviews that you have in your life, right? Particularly, we have two or three broader segments of interviews. One is your technical segment of interview, because all of us are technical students over here. If somebody is from a non-technical background, then also that's fine. Technical as a term is being used to uh, to uh, to sort of whether scientific questions related to that field are being asked or not. What is science? Science is all about knowing the process, operations, steps, what are the theories slash experiments. For example, if someone is studying commerce, for them a technical interview can be something which is related to, let's say, audit, economics, mathematics, right? Vis-a-vis somebody who is into IT, for them a technical interview probably will be asking questions about, let's say, Java, Python, or whatever. So a technical interview may mean anything. It just means a scientific evaluation of your field, objective questions. So, coming back to my point, there are always three broader categories of interview rounds that you generally have. Technical, then comes the managerial. That is when the managers of those respective projects or units or business verticals, they come and they want to talk to you and gauge whether that this particular candidate, which is you in this case, to be a good fitment for their own teams or not. What are your maybe vision for yourself, right? For the company. What all are the broader perspectives that you bring to the table, not just your technology, but then the broader perspectives, right? That's how a managerial interview happens. And then, of course, we have the HR round wherein your behavioral part of the discussions get covered. There are many, many companies out there in India wherein you'll see that HR interviews just happen for like 10, 15 minutes. It's just a tick mark on the paper. There are some companies like SAP wherein you'll see HR interviews going on for like 45, 50 minutes, whereas we want to understand everything about your behavior before we get you on board in our own company, right? So there are different companies out there in the market, but these are the three broader categories. There are some more number of categories also that you can see over here that Nishma has written, but then I'll go into the traits and the categories also very quickly. Um, there's something called as a stress interview. Okay. Now, what does it mean by a stress interview? It simply means that the interviewer is not going to give you proper time to answer your question, or the interviewer sort of pokes you in everything. You say A, the interview says, no, 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 no. B, you say East, and the interview said, no, it's supposed to be West, right? Always keep in mind whenever a stress interview is happening, you need to maintain your calm and peace of mind. Okay? One of the best things, one of the good things that Sneha did during her mock was that when she said she doesn't have an answer to the question, she smiled and said that she doesn't have. All of you might remember from our last session as well, always remember the golden rule. When you think you're stuck and when you want to say that you do not have an answer to a question, just smile. That's it. A smile works wonders. A smile means you are taking it in a nice manner. A smile means that you are welcoming to the idea of you not having an answer to a question, but at the same time, you're humble enough to agree and accept that you do not have an answer right now. Okay? Always remember the golden rule. When you are stuck somewhere, smile and answer. Even if you want to say you don't have an answer to the question, smile. That's okay. That will do, you know, maybe 60, 70% of the job for you. Okay. But coming back to these points, some of the most common type of interview questions, right? One of them we already covered, which is tell me something about yourself, right? Which Bhargavi started with this discussion with today, and it was a very good answer. Then we have questions like, why do you want to join a company? What our company, right? There are questions like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? There are questions like, where do you see yourself years down the lane? There are questions like, describe a challenge you overcame. And questions can go on and on and on and on. Okay. Although we have pointed it out that these are the 5 most common interview questions, rest assured you may find questions in your interview that go even beyond that. The magic happens when you introspect about yourself before the interview. What I mean to say is that if you know yourself as a human being, as a person, if you know your strengths and weaknesses as a person, not for the interview, but then as a person, you know your strengths and weaknesses, and we all know that all of us know what is wrong with us, what is right with us, everything we know about ourselves, right? Somebody else doesn't know. And introspection always it helps in every kind of situation. Let me explain or elaborate this point a little bit more. If somebody does not ask that what are your strengths and weaknesses, but rather asks me that if you gotten a chance to change something in this country or with your life, what would that be? Now, this may be a question that you may not have even prepared for. You do not have an answer for right now. But then, if you know yourself as a human being, if you have introspected enough about yourself, you would have a ready-made answer for that. And at least in the interview, you would be able to start with your own points. So always remember, folks, it's not about taking the commonly available questions or what were the questions that were being asked of our seniors. Is the same HR manager coming even this year to, then he would be asking the same kind of questions, blah, blah, blah. Never go with that mindset. Never prepare for an interview with that mindset. Always remember that you have to understand yourself first. By understanding yourself, what does it mean? Your ambitions, your wishes, your own strengths, the areas that you lack in, your weaknesses, your own viewpoint of the things that are going around, your own areas of expertise, what all areas you are good at, what all areas you are not good at. One of the examples that I'll quickly take from the mock that we just did, right? And that's also one of the most important areas. What are the points that you mention in your CV? Very important. What are the points that you are mentioning in your introductory answer? Very important. In the mock we had a few minutes back, of course, it was a good answer. But then, when AI was being told to me as a candidate's favorite areas of expertise, my next question was, tell me about the models. Tell me about your favorite models. And probably the answer could have been better. I did get an answer, but the answer could have been better. What I'm trying to tell over here is that whenever you say something to the interviewer about yourself or you mention anything on your CV that you are good at, always remember you know each and every point to the T. You know each and every point very much in detail, right? Because the interviewer might take your CV, might say, this candidate has written that there's AI. Let me ask questions on AI, right? Or this candidate has written that she likes to read books, right? When Breath Becomes Air was the last book that she read. Let me ask something more about the book. That's a good point, right? That's a good point because that way leading the interviewer to ask you the questions that you want them to ask you. That's fantastic. But at the same time, you need to be prepared to answer any questions that arise from that topic. Okay? So be very mindful of that. Whenever you're telling about these points, be very clear that you know or have an answer to those points that you're mentioning in this video as well. Nishma, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Manadeep. I know we are running late or rushing because we do not have much time to cover all of the topic, but we do want to. Please feel free to stop us in between and ask questions because there are some points that we might reiterate and might sound repetitive, but you're all free. Okay, without talking or blabbering much, let's go ahead. Okay, can someone explain, do you all know what star method is? It's already there on the screen. Let me not waste some time. and give you some insights about it. So Manadeep mentioned one of the interview type of question as behavioral, behavioral questions and behavioral assessments, right? So how do you answer those questions? And this doesn't only apply for behavioral questions. This can be in any circumstances of interview, right? You pick up a situation first. Whenever the question is, tell me about a time you led a team or project to success. This is just basic sample questions that we put here. So when they say you, tell me about, that's when you have to start thinking about a situation, a scene. Then what is the situation? That is the task. What have you done? And what did you do? That is the action. What was the outcome? That will be the result. So this is the base. If I have to put it in a very layman's language, this is the STAR method. First, you pick up the time, or when, just keep the question in mind. Tell me about a time. Tell a time, a situation. Sometimes it is the scene and task, all of situation and a scenario. Then again, I said, what have you done in that task? What did you make? What were the changes that you specifically did? The quantify your outcome, right? When you speak about here, make sure you don't say what they did. We don't want to know what they did. We want to know what you did. We want to see you as an individual give output, or gave a, what you call, like, sorry, I'm not getting the word. Wait, how did you give us? We see English is such funny thing, right? You know what you have to say, but at times it doesn't come to your tongue. It's like that. Okay, what was the solution that you gave? That is the action that you have to mention there. And through your solution, what was the result that we got? That you also have to mention. Make sure you do not say what everyone did. You should say what you did. In a very simple language, this is done. Keep this in mind. You have to pick a situation, then you have to tell what was the task, responsibility, then you have to say what you did in it, not what everyone did. You have to see what was the result out of it, right? We will share this PPT with you, so you have it handy. You can go through it as well. But we thought this is something that you have to know. And this is something that we also have covered in last session. This is something very basic and what everyone has to know. Manadeep has covered a lot in this, be it handshake, eye contact, your voice, the smile that he mentioned, which Neha used it beautifully in her interview today, and the gestures, nervousness, all of that. I would leave all this to Manadeep, but one topic that I would really pick up here is the attire that I would want to mention. Uh, while you attend the interview, make sure you are dressed formally. You don't have to dress rich. You don't have to wear an expensive outfit for interview. So you don't have to go and bother your parents saying, I want Zara's formal shirt, or, I want Raymond's formal pan, all of that. We don't go on your brand. It is what you can afford. You wear a formal shirt and a pant, neatly combed. You do not come like you're a cool, nice guy with your, sorry, I was off video. I was doing actions. Yeah, you don't come with the spikes and a lot of gel, all of that. You come neatly combed, very impressively dressed so that people feel you're very professional, and do not enter interviews in chappals. That is a big no-no. Why am I saying this is because, sorry, I'm getting 1 minute.
Yeah, I'll take it over, Nashwa. No
Yes,
problem.
yes, please.
Awesome. So yeah, no chupples, please, during the interviews. Okay, especially uh, the guys on this call, because what I've observed in my long career is that and I'm not biased over here, please. I'm just giving a very objective uh, view out of my own experience, out of after looking at like thousands and thousands of interviews throughout the country, not just in one state, but throughout the country. Girls are generally well dressed during interviews, neatly dressed, as Nishma was talking about. For boys, there's pointers, right? Point number one, when you're wearing a tie, please make sure your collar button is also closed when you put the tie up. If you want to put the tie up and at the same time you do not have the button closed, it looks very ugly. It looks like in a very do or die kind of a situation. The tie itself, that hey, it's not your collar is not open, neither it is closed. That looks very bad. Please don't do that. Please tuck your collars in, put the button up, and then put the tie on. Secondly, once again for boys, please have polished shoes. Of course, Nishma mentioned about chappals. I'm pretty much sure nobody's going to wear chappals after this session. Hopefully, when you're wearing shoes, please make sure you're putting up the polished shoes as well. Always remember your shoes, people who look at your shoes, they will try to make an assumption of you in their minds just by looking at your shoes. And your shoes can be sometimes a game changing element during an interview. You never know, right? And of course, as Nishma was also pointing out, and all this kind of stuff. Of course, what she also might have meant was we are okay with you having your hairstyle, but please have a neat hairstyle. Do not go with a out of the way, funky kind of a hairstyle. Once again, we are not saying that that is wrong. That is your fashion choice. Of course, you have a choice. But once again, you are dealing with a human being who is the interviewer who will be sitting in front of you. In case of human beings, we never know what they're thinking in their heads. Somebody might get rid off that, hey, see, this student did not even have the courtesy to sort of, brush his hair properly before coming over here and he's come like a rock star. Who knows? They might think of it. They might not tell you, but they may think of it and they may reject it at the end of the day, right? So why do you even take those chances? But Nishma, I see that you're back. Over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Manadeep, for putting that together. Like, I really I had those points in my mind. Adding to what you said, no, it's not the perception that we build, right? There's a saying, I don't know how rightly I'm saying. If you are in Rome, dress like a Roman, and if you're in India, I don't know if it's a very right way to put it because I do not know the entire thing, but I know gist of it. I understand the current trend, that your body, your choice, all of that, right? But when we speak about professionalism, when we speak about corporate, it has its own essence. Let's not, because it shows how chivalrous one person can be, how professional one person can be. That only you can see in corporate. You can't see that outside. Outside, it is by personal choice. You want to be or not. But in corporate, everybody is kind to other. We have our own way. Even if we know the other person is wrong, we have a way of putting it. We are not outright telling that person you are wrong. We will politely mask it and make sure that the other person doesn't feel bad by the way we put out the opinions. But we make sure we reach that point and tell them that this is happening. So this is the essence behind professional living and the corporate lifestyle, right? That's where I'm coming from. When you dress, please dress like you're attending a formal event. And outside that, we don't care what you do, right? It's not us. What we can give is a piece of advice, and this will build a perception. Your clothes will build a perception in interview. While I mean clothes, I'm not talking about the money you've poured into it. I'm talking about how you are neatly dressed. As cheap as 100 rupees shirt, also very effective if you wear it. It's how you carry it. That's all. That's what I wanted to highlight on this. That's my favorite topic. Because I keep note of how people attend interviews. Even if you make it, mistake in your question, I don't care. but how much you respect the interview will make an effect on me as well. That's my perspective. Okay, and anything you want to highlight here, Manadeep?
I think we have covered it all. I mean, nervousness and gestures, we covered it in the last session itself, so we're good to go.
Yeah. Posture also, we've done. Eye contact is something that we've done. Handshake, that's the first impression.
Yeah, I see that somebody in the group chat has put this question: is handshake important or necessary? Either. If your
Yes.
interviewer is shaking hands with you, please go ahead, shake their hands. If they're not shaking the hands with you, that's okay. But always remember, when you're shaking the hands, also please don't shake it like this. Just don't do it like this. Many people do it like this. Let's say this is the hand and this is my hand, right? They just do like this. Don't do that. A proper handshake is proper handshake, right? You don't have to press their hands like it's the last day of their lives. No, you don't have to do that as well. But be firm in your handshake. Don't show underconfidence. A person who wants to shake your hands, that means that they probably want to gauge as well how much confident you are. Maybe, right? Subconsciously, maybe they are gauging you that how confident you are. Always go ahead with a firm handshake if the interview is asking you for a handshake. If not, well and good. You start with the interview. That will just be fine.
Yes, perfect. I would want to bring a point on posture. While you attend the interview, right? First thing that you do is you open the door, you say, "May I come in?" And the interviewer will say yes. And sometimes the interviewer will say, "Sit down." You sit down, and sometimes there are people who have seen you directly go and sit down with the confidence that you have. But while you sit, right, you do not sit as you're sitting for a informal conversation. You sit, your posture speaks a lot. Be confident, upright. Do not slouch and sit as if you're sitting for a coffee. No, just sit very straight, lean forward. If you have nervousness, if you're rubbing your hand, keep it under the table. Or if you're more confident, you can keep your hands like this and in front of the table so that you know you're not rubbing your hands here and there. But if you keep it on top of the table and if you keep rubbing, we will judge how nervous you are, right? But I know, right? We give space for you to, shake off your nervousness. All of that the interviewer will do. It's just a slight thing that I'm telling you. If you want to hide your nervousness, please put your hands under the table and do not, people keep tapping their foot, shaking continuously because you're nervous. That's a that's like very common with everybody. So don't do it. Keep stiff. Don't even if you're nervous, don't let us know that you are. That's all. Okay, next slide. These are some questions you can ask your interviewer at the end of the discussion, because to keep it engaging and makes you look confident. Your curiosity and preparation also will give you perspective. These are some basic mistakes that we do that we've all been speaking about. What Manadeep told about. Manadeep, are you there? Because I feel you're stuck. Hello.
I
Okay.
think Manadip is stuck.
Right, I guess his internet.
Yeah, but there was like one question from a learner. She was like, "Can you tell the formal attire for women?"
Yes, for formal letter for women is you either wear salwar, or that's a kurti, and or you are more than welcome to wear a formal shirt and a formal pant with a, if I have to specify what is the typical formal attire for women, you wear a shirt, you wear pant, and you wear a closed toe shoe. That's how you professionally dress. But again, you can wear, you may wear heels. Make sure that doesn't make a lot of noise, and it's whatever you are coming in. Make sure it is decent, very neatly dressed. When I mean decent, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I don't have to explain in depth. You kurti and formal shirt and pant is something that you can wear for women. These are some common that already Manadeep had mentioned, that you all know negative. One thing, while you speak in your interview, do never badmouth your teachers or if you have experience on your previous employers. It doesn't make a good impression. It makes you a complaint box, which the interviewer usually doesn't like. And yeah, I will share this PPT as well to you. Manadeep, are you back?
I'm back. Yes, something happened to my internet. I don't know what.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just briefly brushed into these common mistakes and the
yeah,
questions
yeah.
we have. And I guess we've already covered these pro tips and secret hacks with you. Uh, do, do you want to just give them a brief insight before we really close on?
No insight as such over here on this one. Nishma, as you correctly suggested, we'll be sharing this presentation. All these points are sort of self-explanatory. They're sort of dwell upon the same things that we have discussed. And yeah, for everyone, please be confident during your discussions, during your interviews. Please don't be nervous. Uh, Prepare fully for the company that you're appearing for an interview for in your dressing sense and every other area. Stay confident during your discussions, and I'm pretty much sure that all your interviews will go well.
Yeah, yeah, Reshma and Nadeep, I think you are running short on time, but we have two more questions in that section. Answer them. No, that's for you.
Please, please,
Like,
please. We have 2 minutes. We can do.
yeah, one is like, can you
Okay.
take
Hmm.
personal examples in group discussion to explain something? That's the first question.
Yes, you can.
And
You
yeah, the
can take
second
personal
question
examples.
is, can GD be in a single direction without contrasting point, or just we have to create contradictory points?
If you naturally are on the contradictory side, well and good. But if in case like today's GD, you feel that everybody is sort of focusing on the same point, you can yourself make the contradictory points also.
Okay, I think that's it from the learner side. And thank you so much for giving us the time to explain about all those critical points that you were pointing down. And yeah,
Thank you.
it would be very great when you say the PPT. And
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
then is one thing I would want to highlight before I leave for today. And this is for everybody. While you are attending an interview, please make sure